Talk Like TED by Carmine Gallo. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button. Presentation is everything. Let's face it, there's nothing more inspiring in our day and age than a bold idea communicated effectively. Wouldn't it be amazing to understand the deliveries of these different jaw-dropping presentations and apply those secrets to wow your audiences? This book is a result of the scientific analysis of hundreds of TED presentations and the author's personal insights from coaching leaders of the world's most admired brands. What I love about TED Talks is, of course, not just how impressive the public speaking is, but just how sticky the titles and thumbnails are. I mean, think about this. How I learned to trade stocks in prison. Here's what happens when you reply to spam emails. How to multiply time. Let's be mature about pedophilia. I grew up in a cult. It was heaven and hell. Great leaders do what drug addicts do. The list goes on. And need I say more? If you've seen one, you know just how able the talks are, or at the very least tend to be, to back up the demands of these attention-demanding titles. I think TED's reputation on YouTube is a result of lots of different things. For me, what comes to mind is primarily two things. The fact that they can draw in your attention, and the fact that they can keep your attention. The drawing attention is the thing I just mentioned, and the keeping it, I like to think that's what this book is about. I mean, it is stressed, I think in the introduction, that if you want to succeed in business, you need to be able to deliver a TED-worthy presentation. The most popular TED presentations in the world share 9 common elements, which we'll get to in just a second. Dale Carnegie, legendary self-help author, wrote The Art of Public Speaking, and I think it was published in 1915. This book, if I recall correctly, is meant to be this generation's art of public speaking. I could hear a lot of Dale Carnegie in this book to a degree that, not gonna lie, is kind of bordering between impressive and unoriginal. For me, this was mainly the introduction. There were some different moments throughout the book that were also kind of like that, but it was moments in each chapter according to the chapter's format and how we kind of presented it. But I'll go through that later in the review. And there were not that many of them. And I really don't think that should be a reason not to check this book out, but I guess it's up to the watcher. The book has 3 parts: emotional, novel, and memorable. These are 3 adjectives you can use to easily describe the most viral TED Talks. Those, and, you could use it to describe smashing the like button in case you haven't already. I mean, it's very emotional and novel and memorable for the YouTube algorithm. And it really helps out with this channel because so much work goes into making these videos. Each part of the book contains 3 of the elements that we just spoke about. Unleashing the master within. The art of storytelling. We're gonna go over all of these, by the way. Conversational body language. Teaching new things, delivering jaw-dropping moments. Using a lot of seriousness. Just kidding, using a lot of humor. The 18-minute rule. Painting a multi-sensory image and staying in your lane. So let's talk about these chapters. I'm gonna lay out my thoughts on each one, what I liked, what I didn't like. I'm gonna read some standout quotes from the book. I'm also gonna say who I recommend the book to, as well as what books to maybe check out next. Part 1 is emotional. Unleash the master within. This chapter is about identifying what it is that you're truly passionate about. Asking questions like, what makes your heart sing? Is your motivation selfless or selfish? These are a great starting point. And by the way, the examples this guy uses are splendid. It's well conducted too. The different interviews and slices of performed bits of what the people who are interviewed are saying. And then going back to him, Malcolm Gladwell, Seth Godin, Amy Cuddy, Susan Cain, Tony Robbins, Brene Brown. These are just some names I recognized, by the way. James Cameron, Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, and once again, the list goes on. The next chapter is Master the Art of Storytelling. Anyone who has seen my review of, oh my gosh, what is that thing called? How to Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. That book really highlights, it really just digs into lots of this. Because stories get your listener emotionally attached to the topic. And this one part of it drove me crazy. I will eat this up all day.
That's what she said.
The most basic way to get someone's attention is this: break a pattern. Curiosity happens when we feel a gap in our knowledge. Gaps cause pain. When we want to know something but don't, it's like having an itch that we have to scratch. To take away the pain, we need to fill the knowledge gap. We sit patiently through bad movies even though they may be painful to watch because it's too painful not to know how they end. The next chapter is having a conversation, exhibiting yourself in a way that it sounds like you're having a conversation. That's a goal when I do these videos, is to make it, it's to just sound and feel sort of like I'm talking to a friend. This is very easy to do if you have no friends. I want to say it is, but if you have it's like, who are you going to practice on? I don't know, a camera? But I love this chapter too. If you see the expressions that I make with my face, you should see what I do with my hands. That's also what she said. And I agree with all these things, by the way. I've kind of heard similar things in other books, not studies really at all, and not really stories. And this book isn't a rehash of those books to me in the slightest, because this is specifically based on research that is specifically based on TED Talks. With this element, what's great about treating presentations like conversations is that you worry less about how you're standing and where your coffee is on the table and what slide you're on and whether you're going to poo yourself and run off the stage with Nutella slipping out of your pants. That was very graphic, I'm sorry. But the focus shifts from those things, God forbid, to this natural sort of free-flowing, this word makes me want to like go marshmallow stabbing, but vibe. It turns into a free-flowing vibe. And let me tell you, the TED notes, he calls them, throughout each chapter, those are a striking difference between this author and Dale Carnegie. I mean, I know that, 100-something years ago, there were not TED notes. TED wasn't a thing, but still. Part 2 is novel. The next chapter is Teach Me Something New. Unique approaches to an already well-known area of study. I'm a BDC at a dealership, right? I bring feet into the door, specialists sell cars, I sell the appointments. It's a weird kind of sales job to me. I'm not complaining at all, but I'm saying that because nowhere else where I worked before included not just making calls, but writing texts and emails and shooting personal face videos asking when would you be available to come in and preview the vehicle in person. Being a YouTuber and affiliate marketer helps me so much with this. We got this super rare vehicle everyone is looking for right now last weekend, and we took a video of it and I put it on YouTube, and when I was writing this, it had 6,000 views. Now it has almost 11,000. Something I've never accomplished on my channel before, without the help of an influencer, at least for a book review. There's that Tinder Plus video I did. After putting that video up, the car video, not the Tinder video, 6 people called in about the car asking if it's available. Of course it isn't, because we sold it the same exact day we filmed the video, but we ended up selling a different version of the vehicle to one of those people. A sale came out of that video. I don't know how much was profited by that, but that was maybe 2 hours or less of work, and it will bring tens, maybe hundreds of sales as the vehicle gets older, cheaper, and more pushed into the market. I couldn't have done that without, and I'm not bragging as if no work has really gone into developing this, and I didn't take a course and apply it for 3 different years, but the quality of my YouTube SEO tactics. My point here is novelty. To always find unique skills to bring to the table that will just skyrocket the results of you and those you work with. If this is something that you'd like more info on specifically, I definitely recommend checking out Range by David Epstein. That book is a goldmine. The next chapter is Delivering Jaw-Dropping Moments. How to deliver moments people are talking about years later. Overall, with books that contains this book's caliber of usefulness, I find it common that there's maybe 1 or 2 chapters that they don't really do that much for me. This was that chapter. The next chapter, this is a pretty unique one, Lighten Up, incorporating humor into your own presentation style. What's super interesting to me about this is that these all go far beyond just presentation. This chapter talks a lot about the psychology of humor, and it talks about why a lot of comedians have difficult childhoods. A book about how the most viral TED Talk, how those are presented. You wouldn't expect that, would you? It had another example of where you can apply this information to all your areas of life. The key to effective humor is how it's deployed. Don't try to be funny, but do pay closer attention to how you use humor, how others respond to your humor, and the messages you send. It's all in the telling. The author advises using what's called observational humor. And my favorite example of this was the neuroscientist who had the stroke. The next part, memorable, it contains, stick to the 18-minute rule, the next chapter. Surprise, surprise, why 18 minutes or less is the ideal amount of time to get your idea across. There's a lot of reasons behind this. Creativity thrives under constraints. The brain is an energy hog, and it takes less energy to watch shorter videos or presentations than longer ones. But, and maybe this further proves the point, the more you add to a list, the harder it is to memorize. And by the way, in case I didn't mention already, that Dale Carnegie thing for me, it was really mainly the beginning. The actual beef of this book is it's just too unique to be unoriginal, I think, on the account of the author's style. Carnegie's iconic method, however, with teaching in his books of just revisiting the name of the chapter at its end and then summarizing it in this book, I mean, it's kind of hijacked like a motorcycle in like a Grand Theft Auto game. Do they steal motorcycles in the game? I don't know. The next chapter is paint a mental picture with multi-sensory experiences. There's also a degree to which this chapter didn't really do it for me either. The thing about using pictures to kind of tell a lot of the story, however, and videos, which is way more rare than pictures in the middle of presentations, whenever that's doable, that was a big, I don't know what word to use, I'm at a loss for words, that's how much it surprised me. The next chapter is Stay in Your Lane. My girlfriend and I are watching Grey's Anatomy. I thought about it quite a few times listening to this book, actually, when Callie Torres had to do like a TED talk, and I was kind of surprised, to be honest, when the author brought it up in this chapter. For my fellow salespeople, by the way, check that show out whenever you can. I swear this is not a hospital. It's a sales organization. The doctors and patients, they're all salespeople, especially the doctors. Every scene is a sale. It's a sales show, okay? And very interestingly, by the way, all of the information on there medically is very accurate. When they decided to build a storyline around Ted, they realized the real magic of a memorable TED presentation relies on the speaker, setting aside her notes and speaking from the heart, letting her audience get a peek at her soul. By the end of this book, you will be able to much more easily recognize what excellent public speaking and storytelling looks like, sounds like, feels like, and I don't know if I'm reaching here, but maybe even tastes like. I was incredibly impressed with the usefulness of this book's information. I really love the way it was organized. It kind of reminded me of the way Dale Carnegie organizes his books, but I would consider giving it another listen, perhaps for a reason I'll get to in just a second. Quality presentation is an art and a science, but this book illuminates the two in a way that seems like the two are one. Maybe it's just the presentation, I don't know. Quotes. Ideas are the currency of the 21st century. You can't persuade through logic alone. Who says so? Some of the most logical minds in the world. Your goal as a teacher is to get your students addicted to learning. Remarkable ideas come from every area of knowledge. Only by approaching topics like race, religion, politics, or sexuality through humor instead of adrenaline, we release endorphins, and the alchemy of laughter turns our walls into windows, revealing a fresh and unexpected point of view. When is the last time you saw college students so inspired by a 3-hour lecture that they raced back to their dorms to study the topic in more depth? It doesn't happen. Direction 1. According to the author, and I do agree, Talk Like TED is for anyone who wants to speak with more confidence and authority, anyone who delivers presentations, sells products and services, or leads anyone to, be inspired. For me, the book was an eye-opener. It seemed like just talking to anyone, friends or strangers. You can use these elements to captivate and inspire and entertain and educate all at the same time, and who wouldn't want that? I was just listening, and left and right, I was just like, why am I not doing more of this in my videos? So I also definitely recommend it to any fellow YouTubers, any entertainers or educators, teachers, definitely. Direction 2. If you like this book, I wonder what the art of public speaking has that this one doesn't, and vice versa. You definitely might like the Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox-Cabane. That book was spectacular. And of course, Presence by Amy Cuddy. Talk Like TED by Carmine Gallo. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out as well. If you guys end up buying the book through the link in the description, I get commission, which helps me a lot with sustaining the growth of this channel. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far in my videos and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell, to get a notification whenever I drop a new video. That would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.